A court order issued Friday begins a new chapter in the infamous West Memphis Three murders. This one marked by the major advancements in DNA analysis the forensics industry has seen since the murders took place in 1993. The order from Arkansas court allows DNA testing of evidence from the original crime scene. The order specifically calls for the use of the M-Vac system. The M-Vac utilizes wet vacuum principles to release and capture cells. It aggressively sprays a sterile solution onto a surface and simultaneously applies vacuum pressure to collect the solution and whatever DNA material is present on the surface. On May 5, 1993, 8-year-old friends Steve Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers were reported missing in West Memphis, Arkansas. The next afternoon, police found the boys' body in a muddy creek that led to a major drainage canal in Robin Hood Hills. All three boys were stripped naked and were hogtied with their own shoelaces. Their clothing was found in the creek, some of it twisted around sticks that had been thrown into the muddy ditch. At minimum, the M-Vac will be used on the shoelaces used to tie the boys' ankles and wrists behind their backs. It's possible the system will also be used on other evidence like their clothing and the sticks used to push the clothing into the muddy creek. I think it should all be tested, Jared Bradley, president and CEO of M-Vac Systems, told Forensic. The evidence was submerged and only touched DNA on a relatively small surface makes for a very difficult location. The M-Vac will collect the vast majority of whatever DNA is present because the solution will get down into the fibers of the material and help the cells be vacuumed up, whereas less aggressive methods like swabbing might miss it. The Crittenden County court order asked the West Memphis Police Department and the Arkansas State Crime Lab to turn the evidence over to a courier who will take it to Bode Technology for processing with the M-Vac. They are all competent, confident DNA analysts, so I'm hopeful in the outcome, the M-Vac CEO says. Bottom line is if there's DNA on those items, the M-Vac should get it. Friday's order builds on previous appeals by the three convicted teenagers, Damien Echols, Jessie Misskelley Jr., and Jason Baldwin. In 2007, Echols petitioned for a retrial based on statute permitting post-conviction testing of DNA evidence. However, the petition failed when the original trial judge, David Burnett, disallowed presentation of the information in his court. This ruling was in turn thrown out by the Arkansas Supreme Court in 2010 and sent back down to the Crittenden County Court. In the meantime, based on newly productive evidence, potential juror misconduct, and potential police coercion, the convicted men were released from prison. All three entered Alford pleas, which allows them to assert their innocence while acknowledging their prosecutors have enough evidence to convict them. Since the release, Echols has been the most vocal about testing what evidence is left to get the truth. At the time of the murder, Echols was 18 and the only one sentenced to death. He was on death row, locked down 23 hours per day in a supermax unit. In early 2020, Echols' legal team was told that the remaining evidence was lost or destroyed in a fire. This turned out to be untrue, and in December 2021, Echols' team was able to review remaining evidence and move forward with new testing. While no timeline has been provided for the testing, given the notorious nature of the murders, public pressure, and missteps along the way, DNA extraction and analysis may be sooner rather than later. In a 2020 study published in the Journal of Forensic Sciences, FBI forensic researchers found that the M-Vac yielded consistently greater in DNA yields than the wet swab method on 18 of 20 porous substrates tested. The vacuum system also yielded an average of 12 times more nDNA and 17 times greater mtDNA compared with the traditional wet swab method. Additionally, the FBI researchers used the M-Vac on 10 previously swabbed substrates to potentially recover any uncollected DNA. The M-Vac recovered additional DNA on 9 out of 10 substrates, the only exception being satin-painted drywall. At minimum, the M-Vac recovered at least as much as swabbing, but at a maximum, the vacuum recovered 46 times more. Considering the age, the crime scene, the evidence conditions, and the importance of collecting every cell possible, I think M-Vac is the only appropriate tool, concluded Bradley.